Good to have you back on the media news. The federal government says there are now 74 suspected cases of monkeypox in 11 states in the country, and there are rumors that the disease has spread to Delta states, even though the state's commissioner of health has refuted this. A medical doctor, Tuyi Mebawondu, joins me now on the news to talk more on this. What is the government doing wrong, if there is anything or things, that has led to this outbreak? I mean, 11 states, we're talking of even Delta here, possibly.
Again, this is surveillance. Let me just put it in perspective. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control is supposed to be in charge, in association with the state disease control unit, to tackle epidemics as they break and to assure that, right away, you're able to pick the epidemic before it starts and stop it before it spread. Now, if you look at that Nigeria Center for Disease Control, the law that's supposed to regulate and guide its ability to hire, to do its work properly, the law has been with the House since 6-7 years. It has not been passed. So there are big constraints. They have to rely on the Federal Ministry of Health to get funds, to get workforce, and get resources to do their work. Now, what we're saying is that, because in other climes, what you see essentially is that there is, because health issue like epidemic is a serious economic concern, it's a serious security concern. You see the synergy between even the Federal Ministry of Defense and Health working together to understand what is going on. But for instance, if the law that's supposed to set up an agency that's supposed to act at this pivotally at this public health institution is not passed, what do you expect? So they are constrained in terms of the number of how to get funds, in terms of even the workforce, in terms of even how to really do the spread of their work. So they have to rely on a lot of agencies to do that. And on the other hand, you see, the public health institution in Nigeria is very weak. This is a serious pointer that we need to do something about public health in terms of human resources and funding. We need to do something because...
All right, in your experience, what will be a proper model, like you said, to pick up the epidemic before it starts and stop it before it spreads? What will be a proper model for the Center for Disease and Control to adopt, of course, in collaboration with the federal government?
Yeah, again, it's quite simple. What the surveillance should do is this, Now, we appreciate the fact that most of the germs jump from animals in the wild, to human, or domesticated animal to human. So first and foremost, we need to really be able to bring in vet doctors and people, the rangers, people that work in the forest, to be part of the team. We need to bring the defense people to be part of the team. We need to be the agric ministry to be part of the team that will be able to do that surveillance. Because you need to look from the point of the animal. Look at those animals. Is anyone falling sick? Is anyone dying unnecessarily? And you are checking whether they have some germs that, they are serving as a reservoir to some germs which can then jump into human being. At the level of animal, that's where you have to commence the surveillance. And then secondly, you need to do surveillance at the level of the local communities. You need to deploy appropriate health literacy in a language understood by the people.
I was going to
and
that.
Early warning signs of diseases.
Talking about awareness, how critical is awareness now, especially now about this monkeypox? Do you think enough people know enough about monkeypox? Now
you see that, there even political and rumor angle coming to it.
Right.
People are now mentioning military. Right. They are saying one party is not helping them. It's when you create room, where you create information gap like that, rumors will fill in and plug those gaps. So what we need to do essentially is to go right to those communities and the spark-prone areas where this disease can actually happen, and go to there and deploy our health literacy materials. We need to get to the level of the local government and tell them that, wait a minute, for this purpose, because that is what we can do now. If we don't do that now, we don't have human resources, we don't have funds, we don't have reagents. So the instrument in our hand now is proper information. We shouldn't wait on the Federal Executive Council meet and then we hear a page sermonization on what they're saying or what they're not saying. On a blow-by-blow account, we should be able to know what is happening in Delta, what is happening in Bayelsa, how did it get to Lagos? Are we have single or multiple source epidemic? Is it coming from just that Bayelsa case, or do we have another one flaring up elsewhere? These are critical issues that we need to answer and then inform people based on this on these critical findings
gathered. Now, when issues like this break out, we're probably getting used to the narrative of the government's supposed to do this, the government's supposed to do that, adopt this model or adopt this approach, but we're not seeing all of that manifesting. What are the challenges on the side of the government? Do you know of any? Do you feel that we have a listening government, or they're listening, but there are some challenges, there are some things hindering them from going about to make all these things, put all these things in place and stop diseases like this before it spreads even further?
Two key issues. One, finance. Because again, if you look at the health budget, okay, of the federal government, out of the 300 and something billion budgeted for health, how much of that money is budgeted for even vaccination, disease surveillance? So even the partners, we're not getting funds sufficiently from the partners. Okay, if you look at even a flagship state like Lagos, that's supposed to be leading in terms of health budgeting, the health budget is also decreasing. So the budget, because you need funds to move all those things and move human resources, move people to make sure that you make those changes that you want to do in health. Secondly, human resources for health. Because even when the money is available and you're not having human resources to drive your vision as far as health is concerned, it becomes a problem. And then also following that is the fact that we've not really been able to encapsulate a health, vision, for this country, that by so time, this is what, we have this vision of 2020 days. So we've not been able to articulate a health vision that by this time, we shouldn't be having this kind of thing, this is the kind of human resources we should be having. Right. So the vision there will drive our activities in such a way that we're looking at it at the timeline, we're looking at activities, we're looking at what we need to do to actually make sure this thing, is changed. It's going to be quite challenging if we don't sit down, because again, now today is monkeypox. Supposing we have a more virulent germ that jump from another animal to a human to our community and start killing people like the Ebola thing, or even the one that's worse than Ebola, they're hanging over there and they're guessing, is this the way we're going to respond?
Well, that's the question, the big question on every Nigerian, and of course, even those abroad, on the lips of so many right now across the world. Tuyi Mebawondu, let's leave it here for now and hope that the government takes even more steps to, like you say, now that it has started, to stop it even before it spreads even further. Thank you very much for your time with us here on the news.
My pleasure always.